Wanted to talk to you today about the depression of change. So, when you are trying to create some kind of change in your life, there's often this unconscious feeling of depression that stops you. And the reason for that depression is the experience of loss. So, for example, lately I've been working on a little bit of a food upgrade for myself, and I see those foods that I used to eat, and my brain's all wired to want that and believing it's good for me, and I go into this process of sadness, depression, and experience of loss. Like, why I can't have that? My inner child really starts throwing a big tantrum, and that happens in all areas of our life when we want to make a change or when we want to take action in the world. We kind of look at our life the way it was, and whatever the pros and cons of that life is, it's familiar, it's comfortable, we know it. Our brain is literally hardwired to keep that in place because it's familiar and you know how to cope with that situation. But the depression happens again because of that experience of loss that you get. And if you're familiar with the process of grief, you know that in the process of grief you experience depression or loss, which are kind of one and the same. And then you have anger, you have bargaining, and you have denial. And those are three mechanisms that you use to cope with loss and depression. So, like, if I'm looking at these crackers that I really like that I'm trying not to eat, I I'll feel that loss, and I'll go into denial about it. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll just eat some, or I'll bargain, right? Maybe just one. I'll just have one, and then or I'll just get angry and frustrated and internalize that anger towards myself. Why am I doing this to myself? And why is this da da da? And then I'll eat a cracker, right? Which I kind of lose the battle sometimes. And that happens in much more profound places in our lives, when we're wanting to make real positive change in ourselves, whether it's to follow our inner voice on a new path or a new creative project, or to stop procrastinating on something that we're doing. Look for the place where you're experiencing depression and loss, and how you're kind of bargaining with yourself or being in denial about that. And then, so the bridge to get past those places of anger, of denial, of bargaining when you're experiencing depression or loss, is to come into a place of acceptance. But how do you get into a place of acceptance, right? The place of acceptance for me comes when I'm able to surrender. And surrender is a very vague term, but when you think about it really, if you're experiencing loss and you allow yourself to surrender, that means you're letting go of what it is that you were attached to and the way things were, and you're entering into a place of mystery. And that place of mystery can feel like you're a little seed underground, or you're in a cocoon, or you're in a womb. It's a very fertile place when you allow yourself to be there, but you have to surrender in order to enter into acceptance. But you don't automatically go from acceptance into something, into flowering. That surrender means that you've surrendered and fallen from the flower that you were, fallen from the bush that you were on, and you're entering into the ground and becoming a new plant, but you don't yet know what that plant is going to be. And so become comfortable in that place of not knowing who you're going to be afterwards, after you let go, or after you start walking down a path that's unfamiliar to you, or scary, or holds so many possibilities of difficulty or imagined difficulty and fears. Well, I hope that helps again. just remember to focus on that loss and depression when you find yourself struggling. If you're trying to get yourself to do something and you're experiencing denial, anger, or bargaining, just remember that there's a loss there, and honor that, and honor your timing with that, and then allow yourself to surrender and just see yourself falling from the tree that you're on and planting yourself as a new bush, new tree in the ground, and holding yourself in that creative, fertile, empty space and inviting in the growth that can happen now that you've let go. Thanks again for listening. Would love to know your thoughts about any of this stuff. If you have any questions about your specific process, you can leave a comment here. You can email or private message me. Always happy to hear from you. Always happy to get ideas for new content to create for all of you who are listening. Thanks again.